Welcome back, everyone, to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Everything podcast. It's Bobby C, and this is as Bobby C sees it. Now, in Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about principles before personality. So the people that are listening that really don't like what they're hearing, go do your principles before personalities because it's AA's principles. Today, we're going to be getting into deprogramming step 10 of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, the 12-step paradigm. We're going to deprogram and reprogram as we go along on this episode. Okay, here we go. Continue to take AA's inventory, and when they were wrong, promptly admitted it. Yeah, we took their inventory, Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's when I was the latter years, I was in Alcoholics Anonymous for 35 years. I took my 35-year chip, but I was deprogramming way before that. I stopped going to meetings consecutively for about 5 years before that. Okay. I was deprogramming out because at the end I couldn't even take being in a meeting. Okay. So what we're really doing is we're doing a comprehensive inventory. Check it out. Look it up. It's a social cultural analysis of Alcoholics Anonymous, the society, and how it programs the people, the members. Before we get into the step book, I'm going to be talking about the big book. And when I talk about, look, let's get into that. When I talk about what we're doing today is deprogramming, reprogramming, I'm talking about becoming our own research institute and investigative journalist. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Investigating ourselves, society, the world, and the universe. Yeah, we're checking it all out. Let's get into the big book, the Bible. This is 164 pages. This is the smallest Bible I've ever seen. There's probably 1,000 religions, and this is the religion of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. Yeah, and their Bible's only 164 pages. They expanded it 14 years later with the step book, and then 90 years later they decreased it and gave people no tools how to do any shadow work, none whatsoever. This is not shadow work. This is just putting the flashlight, putting the beam on our wrongs. We're always wrong. Everything is wrong. What's wrong with us? You know. And in the big book, it's only a page and a half. This is look, they only had the Oxford group for the first 4 years. That's a religion. So we were just following a religion. Now they created their own religion. Rockefeller always wanted his own addiction recovery addiction religion, and he created it. He hijacked, designed, and created Alcoholics Anonymous, and here we go. Voila! You got the religion of Alcoholics Anonymous. A page and a half. That's it. That's their instructions. So you got Bill and Bob meet 4 years later, 1939. They write this 164 page. They, because you think Bill and Bob wrote it. They write this page and a half, gives you instructions. The only instruction that there is I'm going to show you, is to get you to God. Period. That's the instructions. Okay. A, B, and C. God couldn't. What if he were sought? Okay, here we go. Now remember, at the end of the ninth step, you got the promises. Now I feel sorry for people, okay, in Alcoholics Anonymous, because really, look, what what might you feel like? Which, look, when I came in Alcoholics Anonymous, I wasn't drinking. I stopped. I didn't go to a step meeting for a year. I wasn't doing any steps. I wasn't drinking. I stopped drinking. I created a habit and I stopped my habit. Now I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous because they said, Bobby, jail's institution of death. You got a daily reprieve. You have a disease of alcoholism. You're an alcoholic. You must come to meetings. Meeting makers make it. And if you don't, you're going to fail. And you're going to either go to the three. Hmm. So step nine, they give me the promises at the end of step nine. Mm. Just imagine how you feel. You're at step nine, right? These feelings of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. You know, everything is magic. Everything is magic with Alcoholics Anonymous. Self-seeking will slip away. Don't do any self-seeking. Matter of fact, stop trying to improve yourself. Just go to meetings and recruit others. Do the steps 1 through 12. Sparkling water, cranberry, orange, nice lime, lemon. The promises, self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook of life will change. We will realize we will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. Now you're at step nine. Now you're sponsored. Some people take people through the steps 1 through 12, like each month they do a step. Just imagine these things aren't coming true to you. Intuitively know how to handle situations after a year, two, three, I don't care. These things are going to disappear. They're going to vanish. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. What a these are the promises. Okay. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Mm. You know, it says in step five, self-appraisal is insufficient, right? Step six, vanish. They use the word vanish. Let God remove it. Seven, the seven-step prayer. And you know, if you go to one of these shops, this is called the latest thing, the gifts of recovery, the 12stepgoal.com. They got thousands of things in this shop about the 12-step recovery. Seven-step prayer. You got the seventh-step prayer here. Oh yeah, my Creator, I'm now willing that you should have all me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which you should stand in the way of my usefulness to you. Seven-step prayer. How about the third-step prayer? Third-step prayer. God, I offer myself to thee to do with me and build with me as I will. Relieve me of the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficult. It's all, look, if you enjoy being in a religion, because there's thousands of them. I mean, there's people who are good for you, good for you. But just understand that you did it. Okay. You stopped drinking or drugging, or you changed your behavior. Maybe you went on cannabis, maybe you use harm reduction, even while you're in the program, but you have to lie because that's not acceptable to them. You did it. Start taking credit for your success. Stop giving it over. Do not. They say this is the place where you can use your will. Yeah, you use your will. We give our will through our will. We give it to Alcoholics Anonymous, and we give over our will and our lives over to the care of AA. Just replace AA with God. You can do it either way. Doesn't matter. Let's get back to this here. After the promises, right? We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us. We are these extravagant promises? Oh no, we think not. They'll be filled among us sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Work, work, work. You ever sit in a meeting? Come on now. You guys that are in meetings that are listening, you know what I'm talking about. As soon as they say this after the promises, work, 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 they get the book and go like this here. Work, work, work. They got all kinds of rituals, repetitive osmosis, subliminal messaging that goes on constantly. And it gets below the conscious, goes into the subconscious. You're absorbing this no matter if you like it or not. Okay. But work, work, work. Okay. Then we get to the 10th step. Now, I personally think shadow work is a necessity in making change because we have to take inventory into ourselves. We have to do self-appraisal, self-analysis. That's why they call it self-help, but it's all about self-love, you know, self-awareness. I always say, think, observe, question, become aware. What we're doing is we're deprogramming and reprogramming while we're doing this podcast. If you're just if they're going to send you to detox after detox, you're going to go to a rehab. Listen to these podcasts before you go in, even while you're in. I know it's hard to do because you can't. They take your phone away and you can't listen to anything else but the repetitive brainwashing that goes along in the circle jerk group of and who controls it? Not the therapist. The therapist doesn't control it. The minority of the people that go to AA constantly have sponsors, working the steps. They're the one that controls the whole agenda of the meetings because the whole meeting's nothing but a 12-step meeting. In rehab, 12-step, we have to break free from that. We need to start different different detox systems, different rehab systems, different educational programs, different types of yeah, I still believe that in-person meetings are good. I still I wish there was something. I always wanted to create, and I probably will create something that we can come to. And if you'd like to see that, comment. If you'd like to see us come together and create something, um, this the miracle of it. That is the miracle of it. Okay, we are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding it. Instead, the problem has. Let me take this off. Hold on. I just put this on. Sorry, I just put that on. Yeah, this is live, and I don't even edit. I tell you, this was I just put on his TikTok, so I got to shut this off. That's on TikTok right now. So let me get back to it. Yeah, this should continue for a lifetime. No, I believe in like self-analysis. Okay, I believe in integrating the light and the dark. You know, this step is all about showing the spotlight on the wrongs. What is wrong with us? There's no tool strategies. There's no uh, cognitive, logical, rational methods or modality to get you to a place of improvement. Okay. The only improvement they can get you to is to get you to God. And then the placebo effect kicks in. You believe it. So it happens. You give them credit, but really it came from you. That's how it works. That's the whole trickery. That's the cult aspect of it. Aspect of it. That's why when I deprogram, I'm really de-occulting Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and the 12-step modality. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has just been removed, vanished, removed, disappeared, slipped away, left us. Suddenly we realize that God is doing for us what we couldn't do. Now, you know when we change, we they got this one thing right, the desire to stop drinking. Desire means wanting. I want this. Whatever we put our will or energy or attention, whatever we wherever we direct our care into, we create. So we have a desire, we want it, we create it. I don't care if it's changing from a little change, small changes, big changes. I don't care. I believe in change, though, to improve ourselves. Okay. Today's my anniversary, October 9th. I've been married 54 years. My wife's out there listening to the Phillies game. Okay. Uh, yeah, 54 years. That's a long, long time. And I'm not bragging about it. I'm not any special thing. But today, I just want to say today is my anniversary. I'm doing this podcast. We met in ninth grade. Okay, so problem has been removed. It is easy for us to let go. Whenever they say spiritual, replace it with religion. I don't care. When they say God, you could put AA, you could put God, you could switch it back and forth because that's what they mean, AA. Okay. Listen to this. Uh, remember spiritual? It is easy to let up on the spiritual program and action and rely on our more spiritual religion program. It's it's easy to let up on the religious program of Alcoholics Anonymous. We are headed for some trouble if we do. We are not cured. It's removed. It's disappears. It's slipped away. It leaves us. It vanishes. It's a miracle. But you're not cured. You got this disease, alcoholism. They created the name. Ism means movement, alcohol movement. You're an alcoholic. They created that name too. Alcohol. There's no such thing as an alcoholic or alcoholism or diseased or powerless. Stop using those labels. Addict, alcoholic, once an addict, always an addict. Okay, here we go. Here's where they got what we really have is a daily reprieve. Remember that? Daily reprieve? All you have is a daily reprieve upon contingent on the maintenance of your spiritual condition, of your religious condition. Contingent upon you following the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, doing the steps 1 through 12, and recruiting others. Period. And three musts in a paragraph, two paragraphs. There's no must in Alcoholics Anonymous. Listen to this. Oh, here's another thing. Okay, three musts. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into our activities. God's will. Like I know anything about God's will. I know about my will. I know that I was born with this beautiful mind of mine. And we use that. It's called mentalism, the mentalism to create things through or through our thinking, where we put our energies or will or care or love or patience or tolerance into, and we create things. Listen to this here. Here we go. Contingent upon maintenance of religious conditions. Every day is a day that we must carry the message. And then here's another one. How can I best serve thee? Thee. Thee could be AA God. That thy will, not mine, be done. Thy will, not mine, be done. That's a hijacking of the self. This is spiritual abuse, emotional, mental, and physical abuse. What we're forming, what they're programming us to form in our minds, in our bodies, in our subconscious, in our consciousness, to give our will over to AA and let AA take care of us. We're not responsible. See, they created this disease thing so we don't have to be responsible for it. See, if we got a disease, we got it. We can't change it. We're not responsible. We weren't responsible for it, and we're not responsible to change it either. This is a disease. Marty Mann told us, in the back of here, I could show you here when Marty Mann talked back here about, oh, I don't even want to go there yet. Um, Here's another must. Strength, inspiration, and direction from him. Remember in these books, she is not even mentioned in there. Women, I don't know how women could stay in Alcoholics Anonymous way back then and even today. He, him, even 17, 15 years later when they wrote the step book, it's still he. I'll show you. It's still he. Okay. They made some tweaks over in this new big book 90 years later, the plain language big book. Oh God. You talk about instructions, there's none there. It's a page and a half. Same as the big book, a page and a half, but less information in there. So I don't know where the tools, where the tools are in there. The only tools they got is to get you to God. That's they mention that. I'll show you. So must him has all knowledge and power. Began to sense the flow of the spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. Yeah, because that's all we're going to focus on is God, God, God. So we're God conscious. So God's taken A, and God is taking over our consciousness. Okay. So we're focusing, we can't focus on other things. We only focus on that and we become conscious of AA and God. We have begun to develop the sixth sense. Yeah, sixth sense. But we must, there's another one, three of them, two paragraphs, but we must go further, and that means more action. Then you get then at the bottom it says step 11, suggest prayer and meditation. That's the big book. That's the instructions. That's how you're going to get, that's how you're doing shadow work. No information. Okay. They talk about self-appraisal is insufficient, and then they say, oh, it's in this book. Okay, now we're going to go into the step book. Remember, I said, look, comprehensive inventory on Alcoholics Anonymous and myself too. You know, yeah, I'm going to take my personal inventory when needed, but I'm going to take others too. Okay, because listen to this here. For the wise has always known that no one can make such of his life until self-seeking becomes a regular habit. Right? Self-seeking becomes a regular habit. I believe in that. I believe in us becoming investigative journalists. What did I put it at? Here. I believe that we should become our own research institute and investigative journalist, investigating ourselves, oneself and society and the world and the universe. So self-seeking becomes a regular habit. But then again, it says over here that it says right here, in step 5, it says self-appraisal is insufficient. No, self-appraisal is insufficient because you must go to God, go to your sponsor. Okay, let your sponsor do your thinking for you. Become codependent, become addicted to Alcoholics Anonymous, your sponsor, the repetition, the program, come addicted to seeking God's will. You know, it's a big circle jerk. You know, in the third step, there's prayer. In the fourth step, self-reliance failed, relying on God only. You know, seventh step prayer. You know, sixth step, it says vanished. Eighth and ninth is the promises. It's crazy. Self-seeking becomes a regular habit until remember, 17 years later, man, he is able to admit and accept what he finds. Yeah. Self-seeking, take inventory of Alcoholics Anonymous, society, media, government, religion, celebrities, Hollywood, Netflix. Yeah, we'll get into that. Netflix. Wow. Um, until he is able to admit, yeah, I gotta admit and accept what he finds. Yeah, I gotta admit and accept the wrongs that I've discovered. Uncover, recover, and discover the truth about AA, ourselves, society, and the world. Yeah, I gotta admit it to myself that I've been programmed. Okay, I got something here that I gotta get out of here. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, I gotta admit that I've been programmed. And that's taking inventory of Alcoholics Anonymous and other societies, organizations, like I said, government, religion, Hollywood. Yeah, so until we're patient and persistent tries to correct what is wrong. When I say try to correct what is wrong, so while I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm discovering, right? I'm reprogramming and I'm deprogramming and reprogram while I'm in, and then admit the wrongs in Alcoholics Anonymous, okay, and correct them. Now, for me, after years of deprogramming inside, I corrected it I had to leave totally, never return. Uh, and I had a good relationship with people back then. I had a good relationship with people. So it was like, you know, I left and then I started to discover even more. Once you go outside the triangle, you go outside the box, you start discovering a lot more. Okay, so then they talk about a lot about the spot inventory. Okay, the spot inventory. Okay, then at day's end, that's another inventory, and then the annual and semi-annual house cleaning, and occasional retreat. Now I'll get into that retreat because I was a member. I went twice to Matt Talbot retreat. Okay, and I'll show you my coin. I'll show you right now. Anybody look up Matt Talbot. There's my coin. Okay, there's the coin of Matt Talbot. See what it says there? It says God, but for the grace of God. And where did they get that? One Alcoholics Anonymous coin? Well, for the grace of God, there go I. Did you ever hear that? Okay, they gave me a number. See, you return this when you die, somebody brings this back, and then they ring the bell when you die. And then they give another point to Matt Talbot because they're canonizing him. He's a vulnerable. He's vulnerable. He's a vulnerable in the Catholic Church, and they're going to make him a saint. Matt Talbot. You want to talk about Matt Talbot real quick? Okay. Here's Matt Talbot. Let's see here. This is how they describe Matt Talbot groups. This is from the Matt Talbot online. What is Matt Talbot Retreat? We are a group of recovering alcoholics who have recognized the need for help from a power greater than ourselves, God, of course. Okay, we we try. We are tired of being belligerent, vindictive, intolerant, anxious, and full of self pity. We use the Matt Talbot spiritual retreat to seek the solution. We used a weekend to find out how to utilize the tools suggested in the 12-step, 12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. The whole thing is just AA. Everybody there is from Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, the 12-step program, Codependency Anonymous, ACOA, Adult Children of Alcoholics Anonymous. I went to two of them. Okay. Listen to this now. However, we are not affiliated with AA or any other 12-step program. What a BS. They're not affiliated with them. Yeah. Okay. So that's the Matt Talbot. That's the retreats that they're talking about when they talk about uh, uh, annual or semi-annual house cleaning, occasional retreats. That's a self-overhaul and meditate. They're Matt Talbot retreats. They talk about self-appraisal, step 5. They're talking about self-appraisal, but then when they talk about step 5, it says self-appraisal is insufficient. So it's very contradicting, all back and forth in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And then they talk about emotional hangovers, which we all have. They talk about anger, fear, jealousy, and the likes, negative emotions. We all know about that. We don't have to be. We could go to any CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy groups. We can go to Smart Recovery. We can learn all this type of emotional hangovers because most of us, like even myself, emotional regulation, you know, I still suffer with some of it. Okay. I'm still working on it. Um, and they talk about they're not sins, they're emotions. Okay. The 7 deadly sins are not sins, they're emotions: pride, greed, lust, gluttony, envy, sloth, anger. They're all emotions. Can I get angry enough to murder? Yeah. Yeah, that's a transgression. That's not it. That I'll call that a sin. Doing harm to another, rape, murder, coercive persuasion, which Alcoholics Anonymous is, deception, which Alcoholics Anonymous is, trespassing. there's many true transgressions that I believe in, and that has to do with some natural law, not man's law, but natural law, universal law. You want to call it spiritual law? Here's something else. Okay, listen to this. This is with the spot check inventory. It is a spiritual axiom that every time we are disturbed, no matter what the cause. Now, if you study the Hermetic principles of cause and effect, you'll know that cause is the only thing we can change. The effect, we can't change it because once once we do something, the effect is permanent. We can't change it. Okay. So just say we drink a, a, a half a gallon of Jack and we go out, we drive. Drinking it is the cause. We did it through our will and our energy. We did it. Getting a car accident, that's the effect. We can't change that effect. But we can change the causality of our behavior. Cause and effect creates consequences. So we could do more favorable consequences by changing our behaviors. And as we change our behaviors and do the true shadow work, we understand ourselves better, our relationship to the world, and what we are responsible for. And we're not always in the wrong, and other people cause us damage, okay? And no matter what the cause, there is something wrong with us. No, that's not true. We're not always at fault. It's not always our wrong. Okay, something's wrong with us. No, it's wrong. We are in wrong. Listen to this. We have found that justifiable anger ought to be left to those better qualified to handle it. Okay. Um, Listen to this here. But are there no exceptions to the rule? What about justifiable anger? If somebody cheats us, aren't we entitled to be mad? Can't we properly angry with self-righteous folk? For us AAs, there are dangerous exceptions. We have found that justifiable anger ought to be left to better qualify. Don't get angry. Don't get angry because we can control you better if you're not angry. Okay. So they keep on talking about the spot check in between. No tools, no solutions, no way out. The only way is A, B, and C to get you to God. Um, then they got top priority rating, restraint of tongue and pen. Back then, pen, they didn't have the text. Today, yeah, I believe in restraint and on tongue and text, tongue and emails. Be careful what you put out on the internet. Be careful, young people and even old people. Even me, what I'm saying today. Okay, I have to be careful what I'm saying. We are tempted to here we go. For we can neither think nor act to good purpose until the habit of self-restraint has become automatic. Boy, try that. Try that. Automatic like that. Never happened. Self-restraint is automatic. Man, I'm striving to get there. Oh man, I don't think I will before I die, but maybe I'll have some glimpse of it, you know, where I could not react at all. It's because it's the reaction. Okay. Become a habit. Mm. Here we go. Here's where they get you. God always gets you. Today's sober only. We are today sober or clean. They call it clean and sober. NAAA. Today only by the grace of God. Okay. It will become more and more evident as we go further that it is pointless to become angry. Don't get angry. Don't show no emotion. Remember, no emotion. And to get hurt by people who, like us, are suffering from the pains of growing up. Then they go further. They go, not my, when in doubt, we can always pause saying, not my will, but thine be done. But thy AAs or God be done. Higher power, come on. You buying that stuff? I am doing to others. Well, let's see. Even this, let's see here. And then they go on at near the end. Try to visualize how we might have done better and resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over into tomorrow, making course any amends still neglected. They just keep on keeping on. All they do is show us what's wrong with us, all the wrongs, not not how to correct them or change them or some tips, tools, and strategies. Learning daily to spot, admit, and correct these flaws is the essence of character building and good life. Correct them. Tell me how. I know. God. Then at the end, it says, thank God for the blessings we have received. Okay. Making amends means we are amending our behaviors. Okay. What it actually means is we are changing cause. Cause is what we think, do, say. That's the causality. We can change that. So we're working towards changing certain things in us to create a more favorable effect, which creates more favorable consequences. Okay. And the sorry thing, my wife don't want to hear sorry. She wants to see action. She wants to see me change. It means you're not only saying you're sorry, but you are saying you are going to act differently moving forward. Yeah. That one has made a bad situation one has caused. Yeah, one has caused. Exactly. Remember, I told you here's one page. This is it. One page in that new book. A page. Yeah, that's it. A page because on back it's a paragraph, and all they do is mention God, God, and higher power. That's the plain language big book. I feel sorry for you younger people. Get you to God. You go to any, like this shop right here, the latest thing, it's over in Newport. Every thousands of 12-step things, thousands of medals and the, the recovery gifts, the gifts of recovery, thousands of different things. It's crazy. You know, Here in the seven step prayer, my creator, I'm now willing that you should have all me good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character. Seventh step prayer, third step prayer. God, I offer myself to you to do with me as you will. Relieve me of the bondage of self over and over and over. They got in this thing here, they got every prayer. They got the first step prayer, second step prayer, third step prayer, fourth step prayer, fifth step prayer, seventh. Here's the 11th step prayer, right? Uh, that's this prayer of St. Francis. We'll talk about that on the next podcast. Uh, Deprogramming step 11, meditation and prayer. But I'll tell you, it's crazy. Here's something what I wanted to get into here. Yes, this is what we really are making amends to ourselves. When we take inventory, we're making amends to ourselves. We're taking care of ourselves. We're doing self-care, self-love, self-appreciation. Because what we're doing is we're creating change. And we're going to change the causes, okay, which create change on the effect, in the effect, which creates more favorable consequences. Okay. The result of effect of an action or condition or event. In other words, we can use the word after effect, aftermath, effect, fallout, reaction. We create better reactions. I'm still working on that. I'll tell you. Still today. It's not easy. So just remember I use some of these words when I uh, did this in the big book. I took Alcoholics Anonymous's inventory today. So I think we went over a lot of stuff. Enough today. So let me see if I can get out of here. Remember, next podcast is Deprogramming Step 11, prayer and meditation. It's going to be good.